Well, I thought I'd started, and then it turned off after about a few minutes. It's not really boding well. It took me 5 minutes to set all this up because it all came apart, and the hand holder that screws down onto the tripod needed some manipulating, and with a tiny thumb screw and a spring, and I needed somebody dexterous, and I can't do dexterous with my thumbs and forefingers. So struggled for about 5 minutes to put this together to get this ready. The other thing I have a problem with is turning things. I think because I'm left-handed, I turn them the wrong way, and then there are some things that turn the wrong way for right-handed people. It's very complicated. Um, yeah. So where had I got to? Where had I got to? What was I saying to you when it turned off? We had the poulet à la normande today. I didn't have Calvados, so I used brandy. Had cider. Put it all together. It's not a long dish to make or to cook. It was quite quick, about an hour cooking after you've prepped it. Um, and it was nice, but I didn't reduce the sauce enough, so the sauce wasn't thick enough. I didn't have sour cream, so I used a yogurt, a Greek yogurt. But it was nice, and there's a little bit left over. I shall try and work out how I'm going to divide that up because there were 7 chicken thighs, and we had 2 each, which leaves 3 between 2. So I'll need to work out what how I do that. So I just thought I heard footsteps. So I still haven't made the frittata. I'll make that later. I don't know. I had soup in the fridge that we needed to eat that I'd made a few days ago, the butternut squash and carrot soup. That was really nice because I'd added some seasoning to it that I hadn't added around the first time. And I made croutons with some bread that hadn't gone very well that I'd made. So I did a couple of slices of that and made those into croutons, and they're much nicer as croutons than as sliced bread. Um, there was I came across last night. I'm watching Dom from the repair shop. Dom, whose surname I can't pronounce, is Chiminique or whatever. I'm watching him. I've been watching some of his videos. Really enjoying them. He's started to the one I started to watch last night where he begins to um, start stripping down the Porsche. Can't remember the numbers of it, but it's a very old, very rusty hill climbing Porsche that he bought in America from a barn. Um, I started to watch that. I really enjoyed it. It has a flavour of car SOS to it, but it's not as slick. But at the same time, I think it's his brother Dan that does the editing and and adds the music, and it's really nicely edited. And it was nice last night because the Don was working with a couple of mates that he's known for years, and they're working together on sorting out the Porsche and taking bits off it, breaking it down, getting it ready, and getting it onto. I know it is a jig. They're calling it something else, but I think it's a jig. And getting it onto the jig, and surprisingly, at the end, with a tiny little bit of nudging and pushing, it actually sat on the jig and matched, which was really amazing considering the state of this car. So I'm enjoying that. But in the midst of doing that, I'm also watching Scamfish on, oh God, I can't remember, socialfish.com, Scamfish, about women being scammed for money by guys pretending to be someone else, and I just shocked. I'm just shocked that anybody can fall for that. That can just be taken in by all of that. It just shocks me. And here are these women, and some of these women are are not stupid. They know that this thing happens to other people, and yet here they are sending money to someone they've never met, who is love bombing them, and it's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And I sort of been watching quite a few of them, and some women have spent sent 50 grand in all, and somebody had, I think, 130 grand if I remember correctly. Um, and it's just amazing. And I don't know about you, but every so often, and sometimes more often than not, I'll get those guys that comment on a post, oh, hello, I hope you don't mind me contacting you this way. I really like your posts and I really like to get to know you, and and I didn't want to be so rude as to send you a friend request, blah 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 blah. And what I have been doing is saying, okay, send me your bank details, just and more recently I've been deleting them. In between that, I've just sort of said fuck off. So it's like, it's obvious what this is about, absolutely. And they're always, more than often, they're widowers and they're military. So it's a guy dressed in a military uniform, and some of the photos on the profile are a guy in military uniform. There's always a dog, there's always a bloody animal, but they're widowed, or so they're highly available and in highly respected jobs. It's just mad, and it just fascinates me that there are women that fall for that. So I've been watching that. And then I came across, by accident, I don't know how, I stumbled across a woman in Scotland who's doing this sort of thing, speaking to camera, just monologuing, which surprised me. It shouldn't really surprise me, but I thought, I know that there are a lot of people that wonder why I'm doing this and are bored with this and want me to shut the fuck up. And there's another woman doing the same thing, monologuing to camera. And the one I watched last night, she is trying to work out how she's going to manage to keep the house warm, and also save money because of the electricity difficulties in the UK. The prices of electricity has gone up so high, and so they went without heat, they dressed, and she talks about how they're dressing in layers and doing all of that stuff, but then realised that the cold, it's not about them keeping warm. It's not just about them keeping warm. It's about the fabric of the house is now not getting warm, and now she can feel the damp. I don't know whether she could smell the damp, but she could feel the damp. And that's the issue, isn't it? It's and that aside, she's a woman in her, she's midlife something, it's called. I meant to look before I came out and forgot. Midlife something. So she's a woman younger than I am, so able to, within reason, keep herself well and keep herself warm. And even if it means that she keeps moving or, does stuff to warm herself up. But imagine an old person in a house they can't afford to heat, and when that damp starts to arrive, and how bone chilling that is. There's going to be so many deaths this year, and they'll all be hidden. They'll all become a statistic. They'll all become unexpected deaths. They'll probably add them to the unexpected deaths total, when actually the reality is they are expected. I expect them because people can't afford to keep themselves warm. Old people will not be able to keep themselves warm and they'll die. It's frightening, really frightening. So that's what I've been doing. I didn't have a good night. I went to bed and was in pain before I went to sleep, even though I'd taken analgesia. So I had a painful night with my hands and my hip, and woke up this morning still in pain, obviously because the analgesia I'd taken I think I took it at 11 o'clock, and obviously it wasn't really working anyway, and then it had worn off by the time I did finally get out of bed, because I did manage to drift off and have some better sleep in the latter part of the night. I took a Doliprane when I got up with my tablets. That didn't really work. And I've struggled with the cooking and the preparing the food and the cutting the veg and whatever. And I just I'm pleased that's over. And have just taken the stronger painkillers that didn't seem to really work last night. I've taken them again, and I feel that they have worked. So we'll see. But I don't have a lot more to do now. I can relax and hope the pain will go away, and the frittata won't take. I've only got half an onion left. I left it from the poulet à la normande. I get him to cut that, and a bit of garlic for the frittata. Otherwise, it's I don't have to do much. But my hands have been really struggling, and the gloves, I wore them last night, and they normally work. They weren't working last night, but you're only meant to wear them for 8 hours at a time, so I have to take them off in the morning, and plus you can't cook and wash your hands and do all of that with them on. um, so I do leave them off so that I have so they are, I benefit from them at night. I think it's a bit like if you're wearing a neck brace, or if you're wearing a knee support or an elbow support or something, you are meant to leave it off so that you feel the benefit of it when you put it back on, and to give the muscles a chance to do their own thing. So I think it's a little bit like that. So yeah, I haven't got the gloves on, and I'll wait until I was thinking that was a passion flower in flower, but it isn't. Yeah, I'll wait until tonight and wear them. That's it. It's Sunday. It's looking a bit as if it might rain over there. There's a bit of dark cloud over there. It feels quite mild. It's nice to be out in the air. I haven't been out for... I did come out yesterday briefly. I think I did the chickens in the morning. But yeah, it's good to get out in the air. Okay, have a good Sunday. Oh, I know what I was going to say. I'm hoping that there will be... Well, I'm looking forward to watching Luca and Sarah's vlog later. It's really difficult for them at the moment. I see that Luca is absolutely ecstatic, obviously, about being home, and they were back at Lucky Land, and you know, so he's like living on sort of cloud nine at the moment, which is brilliant. I'm really pleased for him, and I know Sarah is really pleased, and you know, so pleased, so pleased, obviously, that he's alive, and that I mean, she did such a lot to keep him alive, and all of that. But the difficulty is that she is also struggling to deal with now the aftermath. So all of her adrenaline's gone, and she's dealing with the aftermath and dealing with the scare of what if this happens again. And I feel really sorry. I can see that they're just slightly out of sync, and he's very aware of what's happening for her, and I know that, you know, they're very supportive of each other. But I do hope that she can get some professional help to help her work through the trauma, because she really needs to do that for them to be able to get on and live their lives comfortably again. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing their Sunday vlog. I can hear Mark hammering the door with the fly swat, so I'm going to go in now and see if he's catching any of the bloody flies. Okay, have a nice one.